Philadelphia 76ers are in some real trouble. I mean, they look atrocious. Look, I understand it's been 3 games, but this is a team with a lot of promise, a lot of talent that's supposed to be really good. And they lose to the Celtics. Okay, that's fine. Lose to the Bucks in a tight game. Okay, that's fine. But to go be at home against the Spurs and get smacked basically start to finish is not what this team is about, right? You went and got quality pieces like PJ Tucker to kind of add some toughness and stuff. You can't stop anybody. You can't score. Joel Embiid has been awful the last 2 games. He finally wakes up and looks like that guy again, and nobody else shows up. You know, it's just like I don't know. They got to find a way to put it together. They do not look like a team that is able to compete night in and night out, be good and be competitive. I don't think this team is going to be very far. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs or anything. They're not that bad. But if things don't change for this team, and this is really who they are, then I don't think that they stand a chance. I don't. And here's the problem. Is this is how they looked in the playoffs last season. Same thing. So it's not like we don't have, it's just been 3 games, that's it. No, since the Harden deal, it's kind of been clunky. It's kind of been awkward. It hasn't really worked very well. Harden doesn't really know how to fit in. Am I scorer? Am I assister? What am I doing? Maxi's kind of stepping into his own. And it's like these 3 just haven't figured it out. And maybe they do. Maybe it's just a rough stretch, stuff like that. But Harden looked like there we go. There's a top 10 guy we know and love from James Harden once again. And then today just didn't look that way. He was terrible out there. Joel Embiid finally shows up. It can't be one or the other. They're going to have to find ways to kind of, get all the pieces to kind of fit together. You should not be getting smacked by a tanking team. It shouldn't happen. And James Harden going 4 for 18, 1 of 6 from 3 is not how you do it. That's not what needs to happen. I mean, he almost had a triple-double. That's great, but he had no real impact. If you watch this game, he didn't have a real impact. Maxey had 25. Embiid had 40, 13, and 3. Tobias Harris had 15. But they have no real bench help. Nobody off the bench is coming up and stepping up. It's basically a 2-3-man show night in and night out. Tobias Harris has been pretty solid for him. He's looked pretty good for them. He seems to be kind of fitting. But outside of him, it's just I don't know what the answer is for the Sixers. The Sixers are awful. They just don't look good. It's not even that they just lost. It's how they're losing and how they look. They just look like a team that just doesn't fit. They look like a team that just can't stop anybody. They just get lost sometimes. I mean, if you watch this Spurs game, the Spurs got 8 straight layups. Literally. Towards the end of the game when the Sixers are trying to get back into the game, they gave up. It was a layup drill. There was no defense. They just kept leaving guys wide open, kept getting blown by. They'd cut it to 6, layup on the other end. Cut it to 6, layup on the other end. Cut it to 6, layup on the other end. It just kept happening. And I was how, they might as well not even be standing there. They might as well just go sit on the bench and then just sub back in when it's time for the offense. Literally, they were just opening the lanes and just, here you go get a layup. And they did it all game. This is just, it's crazy to me that they are this poor, this bad. And look, I know some people are going to say, well, they're not the only team that's 0-3, the Heat are 0-2. Well, the Heat, I didn't think were going to be very good. The Heat don't have Joel Embiid and James Harden. So there goes that argument. The Nets, we knew were probably going to be hit or miss. They were either going to be really good or really bad. Who else? Everybody else is not 0-3. All the teams that aren't supposed to be 0-3 aren't 0-3. They're the only team that's supposed to be a contender. They're not just some playoff team. They're not just some team that's in the league. This is supposed to be a contending team, and they're the only team that's 0-3 as a contender, or that people, believe are a contender. And they played against two teams that they're going to have to go through very likely to get to the finals. And, one of them smacked them. The other one was a hard-fought game, the Bucks, but no Middleton. So how would that have looked then? And then you can't even beat the Spurs. Like, this was supposed to be your gimme. This was supposed to be the game to get you back on track. This was supposed to be the game that you're at home, you got a tanking team. Let's go get this W. Joel Embiid wakes up. All right, he's looking good. Like, let's do this. This is it. This is it. And it's just, they just did it. They suck right now. Can they turn it around? Sure. But they're just not a good basketball team right now. And James Harden does not look like the James Harden. I mean, seriously, the Brooklyn Nets might have done a service by unloading James Harden. He's not that guy. They need him to be the number one or number two option, and he doesn't look like that. He just not today. He looked pretty good the last two games. I'll give him that. But he doesn't know how to score or assist. Like, he doesn't know how to balance that out yet. And until he learns how to be aggressive and when to be aggressive, I don't think it's going to work. And a lot of people are going to say, well, dude, the guy had 12 assists and 12 points, and the guy's put up, a 30-point triple-double before and stuff like that. Yes, I understand that, but he was always in aggressive attack mode, right? James Harden can't do that on this team. And so he doesn't know how to just, he only knows how to go one way, play one way. He doesn't know how to play, okay, I'm going to give and go, give and go, give and go. Like, he hasn't grasped that yet. He hasn't understood that yet. And this is a team, again, that's supposed to be the team. It's supposed to be the guy. You already have concerns with James Harden when you guys get to the playoffs, because James Harden is notoriously choking in the playoffs. So that's not on your side there. And now, like, this team just looks like a mess in the regular season. And again, it's been 3 games, but this is a bad sign, a bad start for a team that was supposed to get off. Again, it's not that they're losing. It's how they're losing. That's the problem. It's just like I say all the time, like with the Lakers of it. Early on in the season, it's not whether you win or lose, right? Because there's good teams that are going to be really good this year that have lost already, right? Like, Denver lost to Utah. But it's how do you look in your losses and in your wins, right? Do you look like you are handing in, like you're the team you're supposed to be, and it was a bad night. Missed a couple shots, you had a bad turnover, whatever. Or are you just not very good? And so far, they just look like they're not very good. Like, they're losing because they're not a very good team. And maybe they figure it out. Maybe they don't. I don't know. It'll be interesting because this is a team that had a lot of hope, a lot of promise. Many people thought, like, this year is their year. I even did a whole breakdown of them before the season started. And I said, like, I think that this is a team, if James Harden can figure it out, then they could be a legit contender. If he doesn't, they're going to be terrible. And they are right now until they figure it out. They're going to be terrible. It's weird. It's weird. I thought this team would be much better than what we've seen, at least for the first 3 games. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think? Do you think, like, yeah, this is rough, this is bad, Sixers are terrible, they need to figure it out? Do you think, no, it's not a big deal, only 3 games. They'll kind of turn it around. They'll get back into the swing of things. How do you think? How do you feel? Good, bad, ugly, somewhere between? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below.